Alrighty, Donnie Walker back with the Buckin Billy Rays 394, episode 2 of the strip down of his old 1999 394. I discussed the last video, part 1 of the history of the 1100, 2100, the 394 now we got the 395. So I'm going to continue tearing this down. We still got the piston on it. I'm going to take that off right now, and then we're going to put it aside with our cylinder and get this tank off, flywheel off, coil off, and show you how that's done. That's pretty basic. It's just nuts and bolts, but let's get at her then. I'm gonna focus you in a little better here. Hope everyone's having a good week. I went to the racetrack on the weekend. I practiced on Friday with my cart, and then Saturday and Sunday I didn't race. I wasn't feeling that great with my leg, and just decided to not do it. So yeah, let's just get this circlip out. You know, use yourself a nice pair, have yourself a nice pair of needle nose that's fairly fine tip. Get those circlip out. I always use a little tiny bag, put the circlip in here, and the pin and the bearing of the wrist pin. Okay, simply push that through. These come apart real nice and easy. Okay, there's our top end bearing, our wrist pin. Let's put that into our little bag here. That way you don't get it all mixed up with the nuts and bolts in the box with all your other nuts and bolts. Or with the nuts and bolts, I should say. Okay, the piston, like I say, is in pretty darn good shape. Rings are still good. Had a discussion with Buckin after the last video. We know the bottom end bearings are still good in this saw. So I'm not going to actually split the case apart on this. I've done that before and showed you guys. But we're simply going to just clean this thing up, fix whatever I see wrong with it, like the tank vent filter looked plugged when I showed you the other day. You can see it there. It's pretty plugged up. It's a John thread tank valve we used on them years ago. So I'm going to fix that up and go through the carburetor and the rest of the stuff. So let's get our tank off now. So there's 2 bolts back here on your spring mounts, and there's one underneath here on the spring mount to get the tank right off. So we'll simply take these bolts out now. You can just use a 4mm T-wrench. This is actually my dad's. It's got Bob written on it. So this thing's been around for a lot of years. These are excellent T-wrenches. They're called Weehaw. You can get them from Husqvarna and other suppliers. So let's get these second bolts off the back here. Our switch is still on our negative wire, which we'll test that as well before we put it back together in case that was one of his running issues. The 2 back bolts are off. Our front mount bolt here will get off. It's got a washer on it, so remember that. The 2 in the back are the same, and the front one here has a washer because it's on plastic, and that little head would push through the plastic. There was some great racing we had at the track this weekend. Unfortunately, a couple guys got hurt, but they're okay now. Just some bruises, not too bad. On these as well, sometimes they have what they call a limiter screw. This one's been taken out, so that limits the travel of the movement of the tank, so you don't break mounts so easy. That one's been removed. There's not one on the other side here. It's been removed as well. So this tank should just pull off now, the fuel line, the throttle cable, and everything should just come out with it. Okay, there we go. Okay, here's your fuel tank. You know, check over your mounts. Here's the throttle cable. It's actually in great shape. It doesn't have any wear spots through it, which is good, so we can reuse that. Fuel line looks okay. The vent line is okay, but I'm going to change that filter that looks like it's plugged up. So we'll just clean that up, and we're obviously going to be reusing it. Now we can take our air injection tube off, which kind of holds this back cover on as well. So we need a Phillips screwdriver for that. It's the only Phillips screw on this saw. You know, Foz is barking in the background. So we just get down in here, move the flywheel to a certain position, and you can get out that screw. Sometimes it's a little dirty. Of course, this one is. There it is. Down yonder. Oh, someone's changed it to a different screw, so that must have fallen out and someone changed it. Alrighty, let's get my headlight on. I can't see too good here in the dark. These headlamps are perfect for working on saws and any type of equipment. You can really see down what you're doing, especially when there's lots of shadows around. So let's get this screwed out. Okay, this air injection tube or turbo tube, whatever you want to call it, is important to keep in decent shape so your filtering system stays clean and you get more power. This one's in good shape, it's still good. We'll just set that aside and we'll clean that up before we go to use it. Now we'll take the coil here off. It's two small screws. They're actually 3mm. So first I've cleaned out all the heads with this little tuning screwdriver that I sharpened on my grinder. It's good for picking the holes out. You don't want to strip 3 holes. Get your Allen wrench in there good. Then kerplunk and get her on out. So a lot of times this has got a lot of buildup of sawdust and dirt around the coil, and that doesn't help. So it's good to clean this section of the saw too when you're doing maintenance on your saws. Or if you're rebuilding one, obviously you're going to do all that. Let's get the 2 screws out. These are an unlimited coil. You can set the RPM whatever you want on them, but normally we would run about 13,500 on these. Check your spark plug wire, make sure it doesn't have any wear spots in it. It's got a little wear spot up here where this rubber had slid down, but I'll just simply put that back up there when I reassemble it and put a little tie wrap on there, and it won't get chafed now against the cylinder and the top cover. You can see how dirty this is, eh? Look how much crud gets in there, okay? Okay, took our 2 screws out, our coil off. Now the flywheel. Actually, let's take this back cover off first. And it's 2 screws here. The other 2 screws that hold it down were the ones for the mounts and the gas tank. So let's simply take this off. And you got to have this on when you go to reassemble it too, or you can't get it back on because the cylinder and the intake's in the way. It's just a procedure. You'll see that when I put it back together. Plunk those screws out. Everything looks in really good shape on this thing. It's, like I say, I don't think it had a ton of hours on it, but it had a lot of hard hours on it. Buckin was rough on them saws when he was younger. Now he's nice and smooth on them, eh? Take care of them. Take our screw here out of the front of the crankcase that holds this mount in. Okay. You just simply set this screw back in the mount so you don't forget where it goes. Okay. Now our tank's off, our mounts are off. Let's take our flywheel off now, and I have a puller for it. These type of flywheels that have the separate keyway versus an integral keyway like the new ones have are a little harder to get off, so you need to use a puller. First, we're going to use a 14mm socket, and we're going to take the flywheel nut off. Then we're going to install the puller. That impact isn't quite as strong as my snap-on one. I don't know where it is either. I went racing this weekend and I don't know, I've set it down somewhere, I can't find it, but that's okay. Okay, flywheel nut and washer off. Then we'll get the starter pawls off. The starter pawls are your little dogs here that activate the flywheel when you're using the starters on, of course. Okay, so let's get these holes cleaned out. And we'll get these out because that's where our puller is going to screw to, where the starter pawls are. Get them off. They have the screw, the pawl, a little spring, and a little washer underneath. So just be careful with that. You don't lose this combination of stuff. I've got to take them apart and drop that. Then you got to have that right washer. Let's get another little bag and put these in. I keep these little Ziploc bags around. We're putting like I just showed you, the circlip and the stuff in it. We'll put the pawls in this little bag so we don't lose them when we go to reassemble again. Okay, our next one here. It's a beautiful day. I went for a bike ride this morning, my second day on my new bike. I bought a full-size electric assist bike. It's got 7 speeds and 3 power ranges. Yesterday I rode to Qualicum and back. This morning I went to Parksville and back. Took me 17 minutes to get right to downtown and about the same time to get back. There's our pawls sitting there. Let's set them aside now in our box. And I got the factory type Husky puller, which I've already stripped once and broke trying to get 2100 flywheels off. So now I've brazed it up and beefed it up a bit. So I'm gonna screw these screws in here, and you want to put them in as far as you can, okay? You don't want to strip them out when you're trying to put this back together, or when you're trying to pull it off. This here will actually, you got 3 slots in it for a type of case that has three spots where you need the puller, or the 2 on it. So it's got a combination of slots in it for different models of saws, right? Okay, so we got that in there. Get our center post kind of in there. Let's get that one down a little farther so it's even with the other. There's nothing underneath it like a coil or nothing like a 2100, so you're not going to wreck anything. Okay, so get that there. Now we're going to take a crescent wrench and turn this center post here screw to pop it off. Get myself a metric crescent wrench. Hey, you ever want to fool with young mechanics? Tell them, hey, go over to my toolbox and get the metric crescent wrench. There isn't one. They're all the same. They come back and go, there's no metric crescent wrench in your toolbox. And you say, yeah, just fooling with you. So get it nice and tight. Okay. And then give it a little smack with a hammer, see if it comes. There it goes. Good smack. Okay. So that's how you take the flywheel off on these old Huskies. There's the keyway. Just watch you don't lose it. Take your little screwdriver and give it a little tap. Get it out of there. Watch it, don't go flying. Okay. You can simply put this on the magnet of the flywheel if you don't want to lose it. Or let's put it in the bag with the starter pawls so we know where it is, okay? I'm going to put that in the bag here with the starter pawls because it's important. Get our puller off the flywheel. And we're going to change this seal on this side of the ignition, or on the ignition side of the saw, I should say. And we're going to change the PTO side seal where the oiler that's built into the oiler. This one presses, the ignition side one presses into the case, and the PTO side one presses into the oiler. So when you fit the oiler on, you got your seal on there too. Okay, get that away. Put that back in its bags with its other screws so you don't lose anything. And back into the toolbox. Don't need it again for assembly. Okay, so we got our flywheel off to the side. And what do we got left here now, guys? We got a bucking spike and the oiler. So again, clean the heads of the screws here on this oiler. They're a 3mm as well, so you need the 3mm T-bar, you know, and don't want to strip them, like I said. Allen screws are the worst for stripping. You know, torque screws on newer Huskies and still models, they're tremendous, you know. They're really hard to strip. They're just a good setup. Probably oil on this thing too that I forgot to take out, but no big deal. We'll take that out when we clean up the case. So let's get the bucking spike off here. It's just 2 bolts, one in the bottom, which was a problem on these saws. When guys would strip this bottom thread, it was kind of a bummer. They just used a small little 5mm screw. So a lot of times I'd have to put Healy coils or inserts into these dog screws. So just watch those bolts, keep them tight so they don't strip on you. This other one too is actually part of the crankcase holding together. It holds the crankcase together on the front. So if you strip this one, you're really messed up, because you got to take the case apart to take and fix that thread. Or you can simply put a Healy coil insert with a shorter screw in the top here, and then hopefully you get the life of the saw out of it. Just missing the one crankcase bolt in the front here will not affect running or have a problem with it. I've done it hundreds of times, fixing that bolt with the short one with an insert. It's just it's a band-aid, but it works. It's a good band-aid. Okay, get that one out. See how long it is, because it goes to the case, right? The other one's just a short one at the bottom here. These are both good, which is a bonus. You don't have to do anything there. Originally on some 394s, we did have some crankcase cracking on the earlier models. This one, I don't see any cracks around the bar plate here, or a bar pad, I should say, and that's normally where they crack, down on the bar pad here, down towards the oiler here and whatnot. So we'll get this off and we'll have a better look at it, but I don't think it is, which is a bonus. Most of the times they cracked was mainly from guys with long bars and you know, hammering it a little too hard with your dogs, you know, being rough on it. Husqvarna's had some issues with cracked crankcases through the years on several different models. We all know that. I've told the story before about 371s when we first had them. We had a lot of crankcase cracking, and engineers came over, my good friend Magnus Johansson, and he solved the problem by showing the equations when you run a long bar here and where the different vibration would be, and it definitely helped when they revamped the crankcase after we changed several of them. Okay, this one's a little hard to get out of the oiler because it's been in there a while. Oh, sorry, I was wrong on the seal thing. I'm sorry. I was thinking of 2100 and whatnot, where the seal's built into the oiler. 394s are not. They're built right into the case on each side, okay? So this one here we're gonna replace as well. We're gonna clean all this out, get this oiler gear or oiler hose out of here, clean it. Your little grommet's still in the oiler. Watch when you take these off, because there's a little grommet here for your feed hole to go through the crankcase and into the bar pad where it oils. So just watch you don't lose that little one. You know, just set it on there, set this aside, and we'll pull the oil line out of it, and we'll clean all that system out as well. This definitely did have oil in it. Okay, so yeah, there you go. There's the crankcase, basically by itself, and now there's 4, 5, 6 bolts to take this apart. We've already got the 6th one out of here, so we just got the 5. The one here beside the oiler, kind of a blind hole. If you know, just kind of got to clean it out and get at that bolt. They're all the same length except for this front one here for the dog. Okay, so we'll take those apart, and or I should say, you take those out to separate the crankcase. But we decided on this, we weren't gonna change the bottom end bearings. We're gonna leave it the way it was from the beginning of the factory, the 99, and we're just gonna put seals in it and go through the carburation and just put it all back together nice and clean. Check our wires out. I've already checked the throttle cable out. The fuel line looks good, but I'm going to take it right out of the tank and look at it, inspect it very well. Okay, so I'm going to get this out now, clean it up. Obviously get the oil out of it. It's going to run all over my bench like they always do. So yeah, it's dirty, but it'll be cleaner. So what we'll do here is I'm going to get all the parts cleaned up in my parts cleaner outside here, and then next episode here tomorrow, we're going to put some seals on one seal on each side, and start reassembling it when it's nice and clean. Okay, I'm going to change the intake gaskets. I got new intake gaskets. They're probably okay, but I'm going to change them anyways because I have them. So there we go. There's the second version, or second video, part 2 of Buckin's saw taken apart. And when I come back on the next one, we'll get these seals changed and start assembling it and get it running so we can ship it down to Buckin Fest, and he can talk about the history of it, the history of himself running it and getting injured. Yeah, he can fill you in on all that, man. I'm just a guy that gets dirty and makes everyone happy. So keep your saw into it, stick in the ice, your rubber on the road, your saw is maintained, and have a great day. Get out, enjoy the spring, get out fishing, hunting, sawing, pickleballing. Gonna start pickleballing. Have a great day. We'll see y'all soon. Bye now.